Hello friends, welcome to the Trading Temple channel. Today we're going to analyze the Near Protocol chart, take a look at the Avalanche chart, and also have a quick glance at Bitcoin. As you can see, Near Protocol is down about 7.5% so far. The price has dropped below $2, and many altcoins have fallen roughly 5% to 10%. Even Bitcoin itself has dropped about $40,000 in the past month, and right now it's down about 2%. What you can see now is that Near Protocol has been in this range for almost 11 months, and fortunately, the range hasn't broken to the downside yet. With the pressure that Bitcoin put on altcoins, Near Protocol has now dropped below $2, causing a sharp decline of several percent. You could say Near Protocol has dropped about 42% in recent weeks. The advantage Near Protocol had and the better performance compared to other altcoins was that in this area it had a very good upward move, which has allowed Near Protocol to hold this level for now. What's important for Near Protocol at this point is that this level must be maintained. If this level is lost, it will be very difficult for Near Protocol. Usually, when such a strong range is lost, it's hard to get back above it. In the short term, we can say that Near Protocol is one of the coins that's currently sitting right on a very strong support level, and in the short term, it could see a good bounce. But if we look at the long term, Near Protocol and other altcoins are not giving good signals to the market at the moment. So let's see exactly what Near Protocol is doing on the 4-hour time frame. You can see that Near Protocol has dropped sharply in this area. Its 4-hour candle is red, and its RSI on the 4-hour chart has almost reached the oversold zone, so the likelihood of a bounce here is high. Since Bitcoin has also dropped a lot, there's a chance. What's important is that Near Protocol might, by next week or the week after, see its price rise up to these levels and test this short-term resistance. At this point, it has to decide whether it wants to turn bullish or not. If it does turn bullish, it should break through these levels as well, do a back test, and test these areas as support levels. But it's a very tough task, and at the same time, Bitcoin hasn't performed well either. The only thing I personally see in the short term is that the price could make a good bounce up to this area, which is roughly a 16 to 17% potential profit from here to there, with a very good risk to reward ratio. Because if you set your stop loss below here, you'll likely get a good risk to reward. But if the price breaks this area, Near Protocol will most likely head towards $1.50 in the short term. If we look to the left on the 4-hour time frame, we can see there are some areas where Near Protocol's price could hold, but the main support for Near Protocol can be set around here, which is close to $1. We'll see what happens in the next few days. The next coin I want to introduce, which we've talked about a lot, is Avalanche. Avalanche has broken this range to the downside and has had a much sharper drop compared to Near Protocol. If we look at the Avalanche chart, today it's dropped about 5%, and this range you see is similar to what happened with Near Protocol. You can see that after breaking the range, it's going straight down without even a fake backtest, and it's getting close to its next support level, which is around $10. Avalanche has had a very sharp drop. Even on the daily time frame, you can see its RSI has reached about 25, and it's had a significant price drop with consecutive red candles forming and the price continuing to fall. In the short term, I don't see anything particularly positive for Avalanche. I don't think Avalanche will have any significant upward movement. In my opinion, if we look at this daily time frame, Avalanche could form a base here. The price could come back to backtest this support level and then possibly continue its downward path and test the next support level. It's very difficult for it to break out of this area. If it gets above this range, that's great, but as long as it's below, everything is negative. On the 4-hour time frame, we can also draw a trend line here. And just as you can see, when the price comes back to this resistance and tests it, it will most likely hit this trend line and probably get rejected here. It's very difficult for Avalanche to break through at this point, given the current market conditions and the strength of this resistance level. The only scenario where Avalanche could really turn positive and bullish is if, after coming back and testing this area, it makes a small pullback. then breaks through this trend line and this resistance and moves up, returning above the range. In this area, there's a chance for a backtest, and if that happens, Avalanche could become very bullish and potentially see a strong upward move as long as it can hold this zone and maintain its position above the key support levels. For now, we don't see anything bullish for Avalanche, and the only thing that could happen is the price might come back and test this resistance, which is between $14.50 and $16, a range that has proven to be quite significant in the past. In the short term, the price could go up to that level, but as long as it's below this resistance, the likelihood of it going down is higher than going up, given the prevailing bearish sentiment in the market. Let's also take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has really dropped hard. It's had a very sharp downward move, which is a significant decline from its previous highs. There's nothing significant here for Bitcoin. All the support levels I had in mind couldn't hold the price, and now it's in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing here to hold the price unless it just stops here on its own and does a backtest to this resistance box I've drawn. But in this area, there's nothing to hold it up, and the market is looking for a new level of support. However, there's a chance for a good bounce here because the RSI is now really oversold, around 22 on the daily time frame, and it could give the market a jolt and produce a good bounce if the price holds here, at least temporarily. But there's not much to keep the price up here, and the risk of further downside remains. In the short term, I think Bitcoin could likely come back and test this area and maybe even reach this trend line it lost and do a backtest up there before continuing its downward path, which would be a typical move in a bearish market structure. This could happen similar to what happened here. If you look, the price dropped sharply, did a backtest to the trend line, tested its resistance, had a strong move up, got rejected again and went down. The same thing could happen to Bitcoin, where it comes back to test these areas on the daily time frame, and we see a similar pattern play out. In this phase, some altcoins might perform a bit better, but not the kind of performance long-term investors are looking for, because for now, I don't see anything promising or particularly encouraging in the charts. I think Bitcoin is probably entering a heavy bear market, and so far that's what's happened, with the price action confirming this bearish outlook. Well, that was today's video about Avalanche and nearprotocol, and we also took a quick look at Bitcoin and its current situation. The situation is very tough, especially for altcoins, and there's been a sharp drop across all altcoins, making it a challenging environment for investors and traders alike. Remember, trading is never 100% certain, and everything is based on probability. Until the next video, goodbye.